Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast between MTW DIMAGA and DuckloadRa here on Lost Temple. Gonna go ahead and start up the replay as DuckloadRa spawning over here as the blue Protoss player at the 8 o'clock position. Meanwhile, we have DIMAGA spawning over here as the red Zerg at the 2 o'clock position. Should be a pretty interesting matchup here on Lost Temple. Zerg versus Protoss, why do I have Terran there? Okay, it is going to be Zerg versus Protoss, not Terran versus Protoss, as my little displayer says. Sorry, I will change that to a Z later. Actually, if there is a second part to this video. Anyways, DuckloadRa spawning over here will be throwing down a pylon in just a moment, and now moving out. Back over here, we now see a very early spawning pool. Okay, this is going to be interesting to wait and see. I believe this was actually a 6 pool. So a 6 pool play coming out from DIMAGA, going to wait for any additional larva and then just send it out. Over here, we now see that probe moving out, and that probe going to be heading up that ramp and coming into this position. But this 6 pool is going to be the question. Will this 6 pool be successful? Currently, you see DIMAGA's getting a lot of just a lot of minerals, sitting on almost 200 minerals now. We'll be able to train up a lot of Zerglings as soon as this spawning pool is done in just a moment. So there we go, spawning pool is up. Gonna train up 6 Zerglings as this probe is gonna be a little bit late in finding this strategy. Back over here, we do see this gateway now being warped in, and this gateway, as it's gonna be warped in, if we see an assimilator, that's gonna be a very bad news for DuckloadRa. DuckloadRa needs to get another gateway down, otherwise he's not gonna be able to handle this rush. As we now have drones moving out, so drones are already moving out, and now we have Zerglings moving out as well, as additional Zerglings still being trained up. So we're getting more and more. This is going to be an all-in tactic. Another pylon now being warped in, so being canceled. What is that doing? Now going for a forge. So trying to get that forge and a gateway, and now this one probe, doing a complete seal on this front door. These drones will not be able to take this down. This zealot will be able to train up with no real issue, as these units now trying to take down some of these buildings. Will it be successful or not? That is the key question here, as now they're going after this gateway. This one pylon over here going to get taken down. No, going after this forge, but this front door seal just absolutely perfect. So this 6 pool should not be successful. One zealot sitting over here, this pylon now getting another pylon over here, and we should now start seeing some cannons being warped in just a moment. DuckloadRa, a little bit of trouble, needs to get more and more units. However, needs to get one cannon. There we go, there's that cannon. However, this gateway already down to 400 hit points, down to 400, 300. Will it be enough? Are we going to have some sort of run by as a second zealot now being trained? So 2 zealots versus a lot of Zerglings coming in. This cannon, photon cannon, halfway completed. More probes coming off the mineral line, and now these units are going to be able to push through is the key question. Gateway down to 56 hit points as these units starting to fight around back and forth. Probes coming around, getting a surround on the zealot over here, and these drones starting to peck away at these zealots. Army-wise, 75 versus 200, and it looks as though DIMAGA says GG. Wow, that is one of the fastest games I have cast ever. Okay, so DIMAGA versus DuckloadRa. I'm going to try to do a very long talk just so anyone who sees this video doesn't know that it is going to be a 6 pool rush just at the very beginning by looking at the YouTube timer. So, anyways, DIMAGA opening up with a 6 pool rush here on Lost Temple, getting the spawning pool, and then just producing a lot of Zerglings, trying to run them straight through. DuckloadRa, being very careful, didn't stick to his build order, which was absolutely essential. If DuckloadRa had gotten the assimilator and not tried to adjust his build order, that would have been very bad indeed. If he had gotten that assimilator, he would not have been able to get this forge and this additional pylon. Most likely would have been forced to cancel that assimilator and lost some of those key additional minerals early on. Also, you see that he did not continue to chrono boost his nexus. That's one of the key things, and that's one of the key things in this battle. And because he didn't chrono boost his nexus, he was able to chrono boost his zealots out much more quickly. Now, this is part of patch. And say hello to my daughter. This is part of patch 1.03, so the zealot build time is only 33 instead of, I believe, 38. So those zealot, I believe that zealot still would have been able to come out just because of that chrono boost, and really well handled by DuckloadRa. DuckloadRa easily taking this battle and holding off that very early cheese. One of the things I also like to see was that DuckloadRa got another pylon here. What I would have liked to see, though, is another gateway here, perhaps. because of another gateway here, it would have completely sealed this off. Even if you did take down this pylon, Zerglings would have been able to just do some sort of run by. However, this pylon does not have that much surface area for Zergling and melee units to deal damage here. And even after all that additional talking, I'm only at 5 minutes. So I guess you will know that this is going to be some sort of spawning pool, a 6-pool rush here on Lost Temple. Maybe I should just let this video run a little bit longer, maybe up to the 6-minute mark, so you guys can hear me talk. Anyways, what is there to really talk about? Still waiting for patch 1.1. Talk to David Kim if you guys saw in one of my 2v2 replays about when patch 1.1 would be released. I heard rumors that it was going to be on September 15th, and all David Kim could really say was, I cannot confirm or deny that. So a very, very typical Blizzard announcement, not trying to have any sort of solid release. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this rather short, rather exciting 6-pool rush here on Lost Temple.